The Knicks have made a habit of making a comeback in these playoffs. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis against the Celtics. The Knicks came back from 20 down, beat Boston 108-105 in OT on the road. Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby scored 29 points in the win. Then game 2 of that series, the Knicks took a 2-0 lead over the Celtics after coming down from 20 again to win 91-90. Mikal Bridges sealed another 20-point comeback with his second straight game-ending steal. And finally, game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers, Cat scored 20 of his 24 points in the fourth quarter as New York erased yet another 20-point deficit. What's going on with 20 points? Beating the Pacers 106-100 in Indiana. Perk, I'll start with you. Who's the bigger key for the Knicks tonight? Is it Jalen Brunson or Karl-Anthony Towns?
Well, let me say this. I was wrong because I said by the time we come back, the Knicks were going to be up 2-1. Okay, so I could admit that I was wrong. But this is a moment for big body Brunson tonight. This is a moment for him to shine. I think he owed the Knicks one. He was 6 for 18 from the field. Yeah, he had a crucial bucket in the fourth quarter, that little floater in the lane, but he owed it to his team to go out there and deliver like he's been delivering on the road all postseason long. I think with Aaron Nesmith, we're not knowing if he's going to be available, and even if he's playing, he's not going to be 100%. This is an opportunity, and the stage is set for big body Brunson to dance.
Well, a couple of things I'd like to bring up before we go to the 20s. You talked about you could admit you were wrong.
I did.
But you did acknowledge that you know what, you're on television and there's tape. So even if you didn't admit you were wrong, we had the tape to show that you were wrong. So it ain't like you're making a big deal. Like, then you're wrong, okay? I mean, we got the tape. You understand what I'm saying? We got the tape. We got you on tape being wrong. Here's the deal, though. New York Knicks have to win tonight or this series ends in 6 games. You're not coming back from a 3-1 deficit against the Indiana Pacers. You'd probably win Game 5 at the Garden. You'll lose Game 6 back in Indiana. That's how I look at it right now. If, to me, Karl-Anthony Towns has to show up, but I completely agree with you. I got to completely agree with you that it's got to be about Jalen Brunson. I mean, especially last game, you didn't play but so many minutes because you were mired in foul trouble. But y'all still managed to pull that game out, okay? You had to depend on Karl-Anthony Towns. He came and saved the day. Mikal Bridges, he's got to show up too. They were minus 20 with him on the basketball court. That's the worst plus-minus of any Knick for them.
How many picks
in this series? They gave up 5 first-round picks, 4 unprotected, okay? So Mikal Bridges has got to show up in this series, of course. Karl-Anthony Towns still has to be a threat, particularly from the perimeter, but this is going to come down to Brunson. Brunson's got to be big tonight. Make no mistake about it. I believe he will be. And especially since Nesmith is expected to be out, or even if he plays, he's going to be hobbled. It's an opportunity for you to take advantage of whatever matchup they throw in your direction and do what you have to do. I think that's the situation that we're looking at with the New York Knicks. I think everybody knows it.
Both of them, to me, have to be great. And I don't want to put it on either one. I think in the playoffs is game to
Oh, no. Hold up. We can't do no straddling the fence.
Oh, I ain't straddling the fence.
I'm right here.
Molly, where you at? You got to pick a side.
Listen, I'm going to pick a side.
This is first take. This is first take.
Perk's the enforcer. I'm just letting you know he's going to be on you all day.
Yeah, look, man, I've been an enforcer for 14 years. Me and Perk know what's up. Listen, either one of them have to play great. It's been the playoffs and these games will tell you which player has to play better. Last game, it was Towns.
Yeah.
The game before that, it was Brunson. It goes back and forth. Whatever they are given tonight, if it's Towns, we need to see a whole lot of Towns. If it's Brunson, we need to see a whole lot of Brunson. Either way, one of them guys have to close this game. It's not about how you start, and I've been making that point. In all these games, the Knicks have come back by down 20. Last game, it was down. The game 2, Indiana was down. Game 1, Indiana was down 14 with 3 minutes.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's about who's going to close this game. And if you had to ask me what you are doing, Perk, I'm going with the big body bodega guy. He has to be the guy tonight. Big Towns, Dominican Towns, we need you tonight. We in New York, they need you.
This is going to be one of the first times I have to agree with him, right? And the reason why I agree with him because JB, he's going to perform, right? He performs at a high level, but the energy comes from Towns. Like Towns is the emotional leader. When he gets it going, the energy around the Knicks is way different. Walking down Miles Turner, hitting the 3 and going back and celebrating. He get the dunk and the and one down the middle. I think the energy comes from Towns. I think that he's the emotional leader, and you would love to see that. He's been dominating the Pacers all season. Like, they can't deal with him. I want to see how the Pacers guard Towns. That would be interesting to see because we know they're going to send a couple different looks on JB, but it'd be interesting to see how they guard Towns, especially with the success he had last year, because Miles Turner can't do nothing with him, zero with him. If they identify that early, the Knicks will go back home 2-2, and we're gonna have a series.
SA?
Hold on. In all fairness, now, Miles Turner did get the best of Karl-Anthony Towns in the New York Knicks in Game 2 in the fourth quarter. He did take over. So Karl-Anthony Towns got his lick back. If I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm saying, hey, Miles Turner, you got to man the hell up. He's leading the postseason in block shots right now. So it's the battle of the bigs. It's mano a mano. So that's what I will say in Miles Turner defense.
I will say this to you. I think that's more of a prevalent issue if indeed Karl-Anthony Towns is driving into the lane. That release he has is pretty damn quick. Oh, yeah. And he can pull up from 30.
Yeah.
And so because he can pull up from 30, if he's hitting those threes, there's little that you can do about it, considering the quickness of his release. I personally don't like him putting the ball on the floor. He makes me nervous when that happens. But if he's pulling up and that shot is falling from long range, I think that does a lot for him. I think that does a lot for the Indiana Pacers. That much I will say. And let's also remember to point this out. Tibbs has to show up tonight, too. Remember, even though you were forced to, as the Twins pointed out yesterday, the fact of the matter is Tibbs played his bench, and they came through for him. Let's not forget that in tonight's game. Make sure you utilize some of those dudes because they can pay as well. Outside of that, if y'all are wondering, Markeith, why Big Boy here is, a little agitated and stuff like that and coming at y'all, it's because he got this little 8-year-old that's here with him that's bossing him around. And so because Carter, his name is Carter, he's bossing him around. And so, Big Perk don't have any rights whatsoever. He made Perk take an Uber back to the hotel from the arena because he wanted to stay. He's getting Big Perk to feed him, and Perk is running around the arena servicing his kid. His kid is running the show. So he's bossing us around because he can't boss his own damn kid around. That's what's really going on for America to know.
Makes sense.
100%. All right, guys.
In Indiana, the Pacers are 2.5-point favorites to win Game 4 tonight against the Knicks. They are minus 135 on the money line. And one of the big factors in this game, as Big Perk and Windy are with us this morning, is the health of Aaron Nesmith. We touched on it briefly. Let's dive into whatever it is we do know here, Windman, because I didn't get a lot of attention yesterday. What is the latest on Nesmith and his condition?
Well, he's listed as questionable. He's going to be a game-time decision, according to Coach Rick Carlisle. Considering the stakes of the game, it would be very surprising if he doesn't play. But if he does, watch for the Knicks to immediately test him to see how he can move. Being very active and very fast is the center part of his game.
His defense on Jalen Brunson has been a major factor in this series. Brunson is going to get his points, but to make him work as hard as Nesmith has, and obviously Nesmith had the 6 threes in the fourth quarter of Game 1. Big Perk, I want to bring something up to you because it's interesting. Again, I don't even know where this came from, but the idea of benching Jalen Brunson is obviously steadfastly ridiculous. We did have a statistic earlier, though, that we showed that when Karl-Anthony Towns is on the floor without Brunson, the Knicks have a positive plus-minus. Here it is. They're plus 15. When Brunson's on the floor without Towns, they're plus 10. When they're on the floor together, they're minus 20. And Windy really broke down the defensive struggles they have. So the question then becomes staggering the minutes. Take us inside that, Big Perk. How do you expect that to work tonight as far as not allowing themselves and their defensive liability there to become the factor?
Well, one, let me say this. I think both should get back to their two-man game. This past season, they were the best pick-and-roll duo in the league. We haven't seen a lot of that in their offense this postseason, especially in this series. Number two, both of those guys got to take some pride individually and play some defense. And number three, let me say this. Maybe they need to start feeding Cat early in the game. Don't wait late. Cat is an emotional guy, right? Sometimes you got to force feed him. You got to get the big fella rolling. That's on Tom Thibodeau. That's on Jalen Brunson. Doc Rivers used to trick me all the time. He used to run the first play of the game for me, and that was it. Because he knew if he got me a bucket, Perk was going to play defense. He was going to block shots. He was going to rebound. Karl Anthony Towns is one of those guys. I do think at times the ball stick in Jalen Brunson's hand too much. He get too ball dominant, and you got to force feed the big fella because the X factor in this series is who wins the battle between him and Miles Turner. That's what's going to decide this series.
That's a really interesting point that you make. I actually remember vividly Michael Jordan always saying the same thing. The first bucket or two of the game back in his day always went to either Cartwright or Luke Longley. He would never throw them the ball again, but he would make sure that they got their buckets to sort of feel like they were into the game, right? Big Perk, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's the question. We can put the pics on the screen as we have this conversation. I like that idea. Feeding the ball to Karl Anthony Towns, who clearly they're going to need to be a major part of their offense all night long. Do they need to get him involved early in this game
They
tonight?
have to get him involved early. But like I said about the other games, it really doesn't matter how you start. And Karl showed that last game with 4 points going into the fourth and 20 in the fourth quarter. It doesn't really matter how you start, it's how you finish. If Karl Anthony Towns finished as strong as he did last game, I think the Knicks have a chance.
I hear you. And look, I know they've overcome 3 20-point deficits in these playoffs, but it just stands to reason you cannot keep living that way, right? There's no way in the world the Knicks can, at some point, that luck runs out or whatever it is that system runs out. You can't keep falling behind like that. The Knicks need to play better earlier in these games.
Definitely need to play better, and that comes along with establishing Karl Anthony Towns. I think initially because of the Mitchell Robinson inserted into the starting lineup, kind of clogged it up for Towns. Like he couldn't have space. If he was on the post, you had a big coming over of Miles Turner. If he was at the 3, Miles Turner was coming anytime he got to the paint. So I think initially that start kind of slowed him down. I would love to see Josh Hart coming back in to start to make sure that they're able to get the ball to Karl Anthony Towns.
All right, so you see the picks up on the screen there. Let me get Shefty and RC back in here. I say it over and over again. These guys love talking hoops. Shefty, who you got tonight? Knicks Pacers game 4.
Well, this series is starting to feel to me a little bit like the way it went last year when the Knicks won 2 games in Indiana and then the Pacers stormed back. Well, we saw the Knicks storm back last night, hoping they could do it again tonight and continue the
mũi nữa này. Tiếp tục móc xuống. Đấy, sẽ được cái phần vành mũi như này. Nó sẽ vuông góc với cái phần thân mũi nhé. Màu sắc thì nổi bật hẳn đúng không? Một cái màu khác biệt. Mình móc hết cái vành này nhé mọi người. Đây, móc nối vào đây. Tiếp nha. Rồi, bây giờ mũi tiếp theo. Lần lượt xuống. Mũi nữa này. Tiếp tục. Đấy làm lần lượt cho đến hết nhé. Rồi, những mũi nữa cũng làm y như vậy. Cứ luân phiên cho mình. Tiếp tục móc. Cứ lần lượt cho đến hết. Tiếp nha mọi người. Tiếp tục móc. Đấy, móc lần lượt như vậy là được. Tiếp nha. Rồi, mũi tiếp nữa này. Cứ lần lượt cho đến hết. Tiếp tục móc xuống nhé. Đổ thêm chút len ra đi. Đổ thêm chút len. Rồi, móc tiếp.